welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we're doing TBR prompts. Pick my July TBR. Can we believe we're already at July for the month? For the year? I can't. But before we hop into the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things books. So last month, in terms of completing my TBR, I'm about 1 3/4 of the way of doing that. So obviously I have not read too many books on my TBR. I kind of went down a mood reading graphic novel spiral that you would have seen in the last video you watched from me. But hey, I actually also did finish a lot of good books in the last month. I had a great 5-star reading month, personally. But today we're going to pick out 6 new prompts for the month of July. I think based off of everything that's happened to me in the last year, I think just picking these books out are the to be considered list. If you've seen like Madison Kate's video, these are all books that I would like to reach to in the month of July. But will they possibly get to? It really just depends on my mood and my time reading. But I do have this week off, so we'll see. I'm actually about to finish one of the books on my TBR from last month that I've been putting off for a while. So I'm very excited about that. But if you're new to this, I choose 6 books off of my physical and Kindle TBR. I have all my prompts in here. Some of these are double ups because I just put it in the new prompts with the old prompts from last year that hadn't been drawn. Hey, look, the Taylor Swift cup. And I usually try to do 4 books off my physical TBR and 2 books off my Kindle TBR. In terms of what I'm hoping for this month, I am in such a silly, goofy romance mood. I mean, it is summer. Everyone's posting their summer romance reading vlogs, and I am excited to see that. However, I do have a lot of fantasy on my physical TBR, so we're going to have to skirt around that, or at least try to skirt around that until fall. So I guess without further ado, let's pick the prompts for this month. All right, so prompt 1 is give an author a second chance. Oh, give an author a second chance. So I guess this has to be a book by an author that I didn't necessarily love the first time. I'll have to think about that one personally. And then we have a book that's over 500 pages. Lovely. That does not bode well for silly, goofy romance time. But I do have a lot of books over 500 pages that I need to accomplish. Then we have animal on the cover. What do I have with animals on the cover? I'm also going to include mythical animals into that one because I feel like there's going to be a lot of mystical animals on there. Then for prompt number 4, something with a great first sentence. Oh, okay. So I'm going to have to do some reading on that one. All right, our 5th prompt is pick up a DNF. So a book that I didn't quite finish. I've got a few soft DNFs that I need to get back into, including one romance. So I think that will work its way out. Then lastly, our final prompt is a 1-word title. Why do I feel like this month's prompts are going to be the ones that give me a lot of trouble? Let's move over to my my physical TBR. I'm just gonna say my physical TBR, which is on my desk. My desk is currently looking like a hot mess. I injured myself this last week at work, so getting most things down right now is a bit of a task. But let's try and pick these out. So first up, I'm gonna do 1-word title because I'm quite sure it should be easy to pick out because I'm not sure how many ones have 1-word titles. So I can do Imago Dawn by Octavia Butler. Then we have Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Then we have Loveless by Alice Oseman. And I'd say that's about it. I think because we're trying to stick away from fantasy right now, we're going to do Loveless by Alice Oseman. Will this possibly be super, super sad? Yes. All of these books keep referring to The Catcher in the Rye, and I hated that book. But I seem to really like Alice Oseman, so we're going to choose Loveless. Then for a book with an animal on the cover, I pulled Where Sleeping Girls Lie, which obviously has the bird on the cover, Sorcery, and Small Magics, which is a queer, cozy fantasy, which has these little dogs on the cover. And then I have The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. There's a dragon on the cover. Now, obviously, none of these are like silly, goofy romance, but I think the closest I'm going to get to silly, goofy romance is in fact Sorcery of Small Magics, and we're still on a queer kick. Not that that book isn't queer, but we are still on a queer kick. So I feel like I've been putting this one off, and right now kind of feels like the time to pick it up. Then for books over 500 pages, we have The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I did finish The Poppy War this month. However, I don't know if I'm mentally ready to go back into that world, so I don't know if that one's next. Then we have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is the first book in a duology. Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland. This is the second book in a duology, and it would finish up, and it was on my TBR from last month. And then we have The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Again, I think I'm going to have to pick Deathless Divide because it was on my TBR last month, and I still do want to read it. I know it is sort of a YA fantasy, which is what I said I didn't want, but like I said, I'm also still in the queer mood, so this one feels apt. Then for Great First Sentence, I didn't look any further past this book because I really want to read it, and the Great First Sentence. Well, first off, that chapter title is a sentence that says everything that happens next is because of Shrek the Musical, and frankly, that had me. Can that count as a Great First Sentence? Maybe not, but the first one is also, I've been sent to principal writer's office exactly twice in my life, once last year when he personally handed me a trophy for winning the state geography bowl, and again today for slapping Amanda Clark across the face. So yeah, I'm excited. Silly Goofy Summer Romance. And that rounds out the books on our physical TBR that we'll be choosing. So let's see what we're going to pick off our Kindle TBR. So for my Kindle TBR, we're going to do Pick Up a DNF. So I have a couple soft DNFs on my Kindle right now, and that is Oathbound by Tracy Dion, which, I mean, I will get to finishing eventually. I just need to be in the right headspace for it, and right now is not that, because I'm not being drawn to it, even though I love that series. But the one I am going to pick is Fake Game by Madison Fox. This is the final book in, like, her Gamers, like, Masked Gamer series, and I'm, like, 50% of the way through. Nothing really stopped me from reading the first time, other than I was hitting a massive birthday depression, and I just did. So yeah, it's kind of like spicy gamer romance. I think this one is the most spicy of the three, but I would like to finish it off because I kind of want to get all 3 physical copies for my shelf, and I feel like it'd be nice to start, I would like to start purchasing those once I have, you know, finished them. And then we have to give an author a second chance. Now here's the thing, if I really don't like a book by an author, then I like won't buy anything from them again. So I don't know. So this is really gonna have to be books by authors that like I had like just okay reviews for their first book. So to me, Glow of the Everflame by Penn Cole could be an option just because while I like Spark of the Everflame, I don't think I was as excited or as enthused by the rest of the crowd, which I know they say Glow of the Everflame is like the greatest book in the series. So I kind of want to go in and see if that's true because like I haven't had much of a desire to continue on like I have with other series that I have because of book 1. And then we could do Emily McIntyre's Crossed. Crossed is a book that I pulled for my first TBR of the year. It is a dark romance. While I enjoyed Hooked and Scarred from her last 2 books in the series I didn't really love. If you see any of my reviews on those, Twisted and Wretched, I just like, I feel like a lot of people have that opinion. So I wouldn't mind that. I mean, I've been wanting to do that too. And then let's see. I think those are my 2 options. My question is, do I want a dark romance for the month or do I want a romantasy for the month? I think it would be prudent of me to put a dark romance on there. 1, because I already have 1 romantasy on my TBR this month. And 2, Crossed is shorter than Glow of the Everflame because I'm pretty sure Glow of the Everflame is hitting that 800, 900,000 page mark situation. Like I know the 3rd book is like over 1,000 pages. And I already got 1 book over 500 pages on my TBR this month. I do not need another because, again, I'm still working this month. And if I was going to read anything, it'd be on my week off this week. So we'll see how that works out. But I guess those are all the books I've picked for my TBR, so let's go through them. Book with a great first sentence is Say a Little Prayer by Jenna Voris. This book follows Riley, who lives in a small Bible Belt town, and she is an openly queer woman. And one day when she ends up slapping someone for making fun of her sister having an abortion, she gets sent off to Bible camp for the summer. And while she's there, she decides to commit all 7 deadly sins in 7 days. But she also seems to be falling in love with her friend, aka the preacher's daughter. So I do know that this will be tackling a lot of religious trauma, particularly around the queer experience. But I really loved Every Time You Hear That Song by Jenna Voris, which came out last year. So I'm excited to see this one. Plus, it is giving nice summer romance. Then Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland. I had this book in my TBR last month. I just didn't get to it yet. This one is the second book in a duology, the first one being Dread Nation. In that one, you are following, I'm going to make this correct, Jane. I think I said incorrectly last time. Jane McKean. During this time, a zombie apocalypse took place during the American Civil War. So we are hitting it up in the 1880s, where the daughters of formerly enslaved individuals are now being trained to essentially be the zombie killers or the zombie, like, bodyguards to wealthy white women. And lots of things ensue in that first book, but that's just kind of like the general premise to kick it off with. And that one is, so I'm going to say, I like to point out, this one really isn't romance heavy. This one is definitely more a YA fantasy. So if you're wanting something that's more just strictly fantasy, this one could be for you. Actually, I don't know about Deathless Divide. It may delve more into romance, but that first one, not so much. Then we have Sorcery and Small Magics by Mega Ducey. This one is a queer cozy fantasy following Leavander and Sebastian. One day a curse goes wrong, and so now they have to go off on this magical little hunt to find the things that will break that curse. And of course, while they are on it, you know, romance ensues from there. Then for my one word title, so that one was for Animal on the Cover and the other one was for over 500 pages. My one word title is Loveless by Alice Oseman. I know nothing about this. I've read the other two in Alice Oseman's sort of like backlog of these, and they all have been quite depressing. So I'm assuming it'll be about depression in some capacity. So do check trigger warnings whenever you pick up one of these books. I mean, for Heartstopper, you should check up trigger warnings because there are things in there, but Heartstopper is much more lighthearted than these books are. So I'm excited if they get these books ever adapted, but you know, we'll have to see. They may all just be interwoven into the story of Heartstopper. And then for giving an author a second chance, we're going to give Cross by Emily McIntyre. Like I said, this is a series of interconnected standalone dark romances. They are dark reimaginings of classic fairy tales. Crossed is a reimagining of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I've heard a lot of people say that this book is one of the better books in the series. While I enjoyed the first two books in the series, I really didn't like the second two books, and I feel like if I go back now and actually reread those first two books, I probably wouldn't be as enthralled with them. It really just depends, because I feel like my taste in dark romance, or just romance in general, does kind of evolve as the years go on. But hey, Cross, we're following a priest romance, and I've only read the first chapter. This one could have also been like a softie enough for me, and it does seem like he might be a serial killer, so we might be doing some unhinged spicy things this month. And then lastly, for Pick Up a D and F, that is Fate Game by Madison Fox. This is the third and final book in her like series of interconnected standalones following masked gamers. This one, could I tell you the characters' names? No. We're following a gamer who's coming on the rise, and she is currently experiencing a stalking situation, and she doesn't feel safe in her own home, so she shacks up with a group of 3 gamer boys, and one of them in particular catches her eye, and they kind of have this back and forth of like, they kind of want each other, but they don't know that they can be in a relationship at this moment. And it's that cute little dark, grumpy sunshine. She's very much so cozy gamer wearing pink fluff and all that, and he's very much so dark, brooding, loves horror movies, but they have a little more in common than you may think. So obviously I feel like you should check trigger warnings for this one, because I do believe stalking is I'm pretty sure stalking is a huge concept throughout, but I'm also quite sure it explores a lot of kink in this one, so do keep that in mind. So those are all the books that I chose for the month of July. Based on the prompts this month, I didn't know where it was going, because I felt like this assortment of prompts that I got were kind of a little more out of the box than what I usually get, but somehow I'm like very thrilled by what it is that I picked. And of course, there's about 2 other books on my radar, because I still want to read Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Forte, and then I'm also in the middle of The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert, so you'll probably see me going through those throughout the month. But I guess, let me know what y'all are going to be reading in the month of July. What are you most excited to see me review? And I'll see y'all in the next video.